Forbes India presents M Connect Season 2, powered by Marmo Solutions.
Hello and welcome to Season 2 of Forbes India presents M Connect, ideas that build tomorrow, powered by Marmo Solutions. And I'm Radhika Sinha. Architecture is often experienced through walls, materials and form. But sometimes what truly defines a space is something we cannot physically hold, and that's light. It can create warmth, drama, calmness, intimacy, and even a memory. It changes how we experience texture, movement, emotion, and even atmosphere. And increasingly, architects today are looking at light not just as something that brightens up a space, but as something that actually shapes it. And that's exactly what today's conversation is all about. Light as material, shaping space through illumination. Joining us today are three architects whose work beautifully explores this relationship between light, space and experience. We have with us today Nitin Rawal, founder and principal architect, N17 Architecture and Design, known for creating spaces where light becomes part of the architectural language itself. Let's also welcome Thakur Udayveer Singh, founder and principal architect, Space Race Architects, whose work often focuses on emotion, atmosphere and the experience of spatial design. And last but not the least, we have Asit B. Gupta, founder and principal architect, Studio Clay, celebrated for his textured warmth and deeply sensory architectural approach. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us today. Now, Nitin, let's begin with you and understand the basics of design first. When you imagine designing a space, when does light enter the conversation for you? Is it from the beginning that you think of light, or the design changes gradually with time?
We have to think about the orientation of the building first, because if it is facing east, it's facing south, it's facing west or north, all the play of light changes according to the direction. So in the beginning only light plays an important role, and we have to keep that in mind to go further into the designing of the spaces for that building. So it has to be planned initially, because otherwise you can't harness the beauty of light in your design play. That is most important to get it straight from the day one.
Actually, that's very interesting. And for some people, and I think for me also, light is the first thing that we notice, even before we notice the furniture or the design itself sometimes, right? And Uday, what do you think of lighting? Do you think the lighting is very important to create that first impression?
Light is the most important element of design, because without light, no texture, no color, no form can be felt. It's a intangible element which makes tangible element looks good. So what I think, light can actually create experience. When jali is added to a simple light, it creates different kind of shadows throughout the day. And jali element, when pass through that jali, when light is passed through that jali, it creates wonderful experience throughout the day. So light should be considered the most important element of any design process.
Actually, that's very interesting. Light not only impacts the human emotion, but also the way people experience materials, right? And Asit, coming to you, your projects have that great sense of warmth and texture to it. When you are designing a space, how much consideration do you put into selecting the materials, and how will those materials interact with the light?
Light is the only element which will help you perceive the material that you choose. And when you talk about light, it is both natural light and artificial light. So you have to be cognizant enough to understand what type of project you are doing it, where you are doing it, and what type of light that you are doing it for. So because the same texture or material would have a different character that you see in a different type of light, and a natural light is not controllable. while artificial light is very much controllable. So, you need to be very, very sensitive enough to understand the material and how it behaves in different type of light conditions.
Yeah, and it's fascinating that how light can actually reveal texture, warmth, and even human emotions. But there is also something that light that is not revealed, and that is shadows. Nitin, do you think of shadows also while designing a space?
If you are designing something and you want to play with shadows, then it's a very interesting design aspect. If you are having some pergolas, or if you are having something in a courtyard from, if you are getting your natural light from filtering from that pergolas and making shadows a part of your flooring dimensions, then it's a wonderful thing. So as light is important, in the same way shadows are important. And if we think of in another dimension, if there are buildings nearby your building casting shadows on your buildings, so that make the appearance of your building in a different way than an isolated building. So similarly, as important is lighting, the similar importance is for shadows also.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
And even the color and the texture of the building changes when a shadow is casted over a wall or any element, and so it is, what is light? Light is just a play of color. It's darkness or it's lighterness. So it's a frequency from light to dark. The shadow is the dark aspect of light, and natural and now artificial light is the lighter aspect of light. So it completely changes the building from lighter to darker with the play and intensity of light and darkness and shadows. That I believe. So shadow plays also a very important role.
Yeah, it plays a very important role. But do you think the modern spaces are too evenly lit and somehow losing that depth and mystery?
Definitely, they are losing that depth and mystery because we can categorize these spaces into different type of spaces, whether it's residential, whether it is a commercial building, and at what time of what is the timing at which we are utilizing that building. If we are into a corporate world in which we are working at night, so definitely it is completely lit up with the artificial lighting and all. And if we go for some luxury resorts, residentials and all, which have open spaces where we can utilize the natural light and the sources from the sun, then it has a different aspect to it. With time, spaces are getting lesser and we are going vertical, then the play of artificial lighting has taken a little more control, and we are fighting our design to get more natural light to that spaces. That is what is happening.
Okay, and speaking of natural light and artificial light, Uday, when you are designing a space, how do you ensure that the space is looking beautiful throughout the day, even when the daylight, even when the natural light keeps on changing?
We study the sun movement. There is still my wish list that I want to design a building which should be inspired from Jantar Mantar, which is our ancient building. What I personally feel, Jantar Mantar is one of the biggest example of light and shadow. So I want to design a building which is conceptualized with that concept, and where I can actually tell you the exact time seeing that building. Probably, I don't know when I'll get a chance. And sometimes my client has, told me that, sir, I can tell you abhi time kya hua hai, exact time, कि abhi ye time hua hai, just seeing shadows and light in their house, which is designed by our team from Space Race. After the sun movement, I think lunar movement is also important, because lunar movement is more changing. Every night there is a different moon, so we can design even taking inspiration from that lunar movement also. And sometimes artificial lighting also plays important role, because once sun is gone, in that case also we can see that ancient buildings, which was Sheesh Mahal, which was designed with the lot of glasses, just few candles can lit that full room. So we can use that inspiration also. And today with modern architecture, we can use spotlights, different kind of night ambience lights which can create drama to a building at the during night time.
Great. And sometimes I think it's not just the design element or the material that are used that makes people remember a space. It's also about the light, how the light has made them feel there, right? And, coming to you, Asit, have you ever worked on a project where light has become the main focus or the main highlight of the project?
See, I would not say the main focus of the project, because without light you can't perceive anything. So, but yes, we did a project. It was a restaurant that we did, and it was a part of a large banquet hall site, and the whole site was a setback and a green verge. So, we had this constraint of not building anything on that. So, what we did was we dug up the whole site of almost like a 15 feet, 20 feet deep, and we designed it like a step well. And so, climatologically also the microclimate was very different there, and the interplay of shadows which was created because of that depth that we did and the plantation that we did was very inspiring and very, very satisfying, because once the trees were full grown, it becomes a very, very different environment there in the open space of the restaurant.
And Nitin, coming to you, do you think lighting should quietly blend into a space, or should it sometimes become like the main highlight of a space?
I think it should blend into the space rather than it should be. It can be highlighted, but it depends upon what kind of setup is there. Whether you want to highlight something, then it has to be used as a highlighter. Otherwise, if we talk about the natural light, that has to blend with your design and your spatial planning and your textures, your wall finishes and all. For a natural light playing setup, it has to blend, and for an artificial light setup, it has to highlight somewhere, and it has to go with the need of the project.
Do you want to share a specific project where you had worked on where the lighting was a challenging task for you to achieve?
I have a memory of my project. In that case, I was reluctant for my client to have a launch in the basement area, but their experience was that there is no, we don't get ample amount of light in the basements and all, and that space we designed becomes useless for us in the future. So what we did was we cut that basement, we dig that basement, and we half of the part we didn't cover it with the slab, and we made a open to sky courtyard in the basement. From there, trees were coming out, and it was a feel of as if you were living at the ground floor, and that was a challenge that we took, and it came up very well. So lighting helped me in that project in convincing the client that if there is a light somewhere, then you can plan the spaces in a different way also. So that is one thing that drove me to use light as a challenge, and we did it very successfully.
Okay, now let's talk about the biggest debate that's between the architects, natural light versus artificial lighting. Uday, do you think artificial lighting can ever feel the same as natural light?
Not really, because we have always, in our culture, we have always worshipped sun. So it's a example that it's the most important thing in any design. I think most of the architects design revolves around sun or orientation, which is related to light. So artificial lighting can't replace natural light, because natural light is very soothing, and always natural things have over dominated this artificial things. Yes, if there is any limitation, then it's the only solution, artificial things. Otherwise, you have to always stay natural, because natural is always better.
Yeah, I think very true. It's very difficult to replicate natural lighting, right? Nothing can beat that.
Robots can never replace humans.
Absolutely.
So same ways, natural light can never replace artificial light.
Absolutely. And Asit, do you also have a special memory of a light or a space that still influences you today in your designs?
Yes, yes. See, our house was an old bungalow that we had, and it had a huge courtyard. So, we had a lot of trees into that, and we used to all sleep there in the evening. So, the early sun rays that used to come, that was like an alarm clock to us, and till date I have that memory, and I just can't even think of any designing a building or a space which does not have a natural light. So, even if the client says that and forces not to do that, we try and give them a lot of time and effort, pushing them into using most amount of natural light that we can, because as just said, it's artificial light is for me it's a poor substitute to a natural light, and whatever well-being that we are, it is all because of the natural light, as he just said, sun. So, for me natural light is the most important part of my architectural design philosophy. So, I just have to have that.
Yeah. And what about you, Nitin? Do you think you also have some early memory of light or a space that still influences you today?
See, it is not about luminosity of light. There is a warmth also. There is a temperature variational setup also that is attached to lighting and all. So it is the feel factor. It is not about the lux level of the lighting. So if we talk about my experience, some memory that has been in past that has made me think of like lighting has been a part from our beginning, from when we started our journey as a kids. There were fireflies, then there were lights. We used to see lights in the aeroplane lights in the sky. It has always fascinated you as a human being from the start till today. It has always fascinated you to explore what are the things which light can do. So from starting till your professional setups, you incorporate light in different ways so that it has to be a part of your design element. So it has been an integral part from starting till today.
Asit, do you think people connect more deeply with spaces that feel familiar or just visually appealing?
I think they connect more with the visual aspect of a space. Yes, they do connect emotionally also with the space, but they are far more enamored by the visual feel of a space. Any client would go gaga over anything which they feel looks good to them. They don't know why it looks good to them, and they don't even feel any connect with that space, but they would appreciate and go with that space. They would tell lot many things about that space because it's looking good to them. Why it is looking good to them, it doesn't make any reason for them. And because of this social media, so many things that they see, and everything is what enamored them is all visual. They don't feel connected to that space. They don't even go to that space. They don't know where that space is. But yes, visual appeal what makes them look to that space, and that is a repetitive thing that they do. And they many times the client bring so many things to you and ask them to to replicate particular thing because they feel so visually appealing to them, and that is they want it to be replicated into their projects, into their houses, even though you don't connect to that space visually, emotionally. But yes, visual connect is something which it makes them bring that particular thing to that thing.
So how do you handle a situation like this? How do you maintain that balance?
You need to explain to your clients whether that particular thing is going into their project or not, whether it suits to them or not. And that is why many times especially in a residential project, the duration of the project goes so overboard because the client wants X thing, but he doesn't know it doesn't suit them. So you need a lot of time and effort to explain them that this particular thing is not for them to do. So, but you have to give way many times. You just have to leave it. You have to, because you just can't be always cutting to the client, just don't do this. But you have to strike a balance into it, and because of when in all these social media, so much visual things are there with them, and because of lot of travel that they do. So visually, yes, they do connect with the space more visually and less into emotional aspect of that space.
Uday, what do you think? How do you handle a situation like this? How do you strike a balance? Because these days people do come up with these reference picture without understanding their spaces.
So we need to play smart. What they want, give them that also. What I want to give them, I have to give that also. So light is not only about aesthetics. It's about healthier benefits also. It's good for health also. If natural sunlight comes in the kitchen, lot of bacteria are destroyed with the help of natural light only. So sometimes clients tell us that yes, home theater has to be closed. So we can play in that thing also. I still remember crossing one airport lobby where there was full dark, but one spotlight was throwing from a distance on a beautiful sculpture. So we can play in that ways also. But yes, natural light where possible, try to play with that. Sometimes we have done light study diagram also to understand if some light will fall from the roof, how it will behave on that particular floor. So that creates beautiful aesthetics in a darker space also. So we have played in that things also.
Yeah, interesting. Now comes the fun part. Our new segment called the quick take, short questions and very short answers. The first thing that comes to your mind. And we'll start with Nitin. So my first question is warm, cozy lighting or bright, dramatic sunlight?
Warm, cozy lighting.
Which space usually has the worst lighting mistakes? Is it the bedroom, living room or the bathroom?
I think washrooms, bathrooms.
And what do you notice first when you enter a space, the lighting or the interiors?
Both.
And have you ever chosen a seat in a cafe or restaurant only because the lighting felt perfect to you?
Many times. Near the window, in the front side, many times.
Well, I think this is why architects never sit idle and always bombarded with ideas in their mind, right? Now, next is Uday. Let's start with you. Natural daylight first or interiors first while designing? Which one do you prefer?
Natural daylight.
And which material looks most beautiful in natural light? Is it wood, stone or glass?
All three if light is proper.
Okay. And what's more distracting for you in a beautiful space? Bad lighting or bad interiors?
Bad lighting.
Great. And my last question, too much sunlight or too little sunlight? Which is easier to design around?
Both if thought properly.
Great. And coming to you now, Asit, my first question to you is, which room in a home deserves the best natural light?
Living room.
Okay. And do clients usually appreciate good lighting or notice it only when it is bad?
No, they appreciate good lighting, always.
What's tougher to get right, natural daylight or evening mood lighting?
Natural daylight.
Okay. And my last question, what's the craziest thing you've had to do to please a client?
I had to actually make a model and do, artificial lighting modeling to them to show how that particular building looks like when lighting is done proper to them.
Well, now we all know how seriously architects can take lighting. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for sharing your journey, experiences and your perspective. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was a thoughtful conversation today. What's fascinating is how something as intangible as light can completely shape the way we experience architecture, emotion, texture and even memory. And today's discussion reminded us that great architecture is not always about what we immediately see. Sometimes it's also about what we feel. So thank you so much for watching M Connect, ideas that build tomorrow. Until next time, keep building ideas that shape the future.
Forbes India presents M Connect Season 2, powered by Marmo Solutions.